Hello everyone, I am the Appalachian Dread and I am here to help you today. I know you use this video to fall asleep, so before that like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, where are you from and what time are you watching? Now get comfortable and relax. Chapter 2. The silence that follows the last car passing. Rain continues after the final sound fades away. Silence grows thick like a held breath. You realize the night is no longer empty. It feels occupied in a gentle way. The last car passes somewhere beyond the reach of your sight, its sound thinning until it dissolves completely into the rain. You notice the exact moment it disappears. It is loud, but because of what follows. The absence feels deliberate. The night does not rush to replace the sound. It waits, rain continues. It falls steadily, unchanged, as if it has been present long before the car arrived and will remain long after memory releases it. The rhythm is soft, repetitive, and patient. You lie still, listening, aware that something has shifted without moving. Silence grows thicker. Not empty silence, not the kind that suggests nothing is there, but a silence that feels layered, padded, almost warm. It presses gently against your senses, like air just before sleep deepens. You breathe slowly, testing the quiet, noticing how it responds. The night feels closer now. Without the distant movement of the car, space seems to fold inward. The world feels smaller, but safer. You sense that the night has settled into itself, no longer interrupted, no longer waiting for outside movement to define it. You realize the night is no longer empty. The thought arrives calmly, without alarm. It feels like recognition rather than discovery. The silence does not feel vacant. It feels inhabited, though nothing stirs and no shape forms. You remain calm, allowing the awareness to exist without explanation. Rain softens the edges of everything. It fills the silence without breaking it, creating a texture rather than a sound. The drops blend into one another, forming a continuous presence that holds the night together. You feel supported by it, wrapped in a steady rhythm. Your body relaxes further, muscles loosen without instruction. The mattress feels heavier beneath you, grounding you more deeply. You sense that stillness is not only allowed here, but encouraged. The night seems to reward quiet with comfort. The silence listens back, not actively, not with intention, but with awareness. You feel noticed in the same way you felt noticed before, gently, without pressure. The feeling does not demand a response. It rests alongside you, content to remain unnamed. You do not feel alone. The absence of sound creates space for awareness to expand. The room feels fuller now, though nothing has entered. You sense that presence does not require movement to exist. It can simply be. Rain continues its steady fall. Each drop feels like punctuation, marking the moment without advancing it. Time feels suspended, stretched thin. You are aware that minutes pass, but they do not matter. The night feels uninterested in progress. Your thoughts slow. They drift without direction, forming images that fade before settling. You notice how easy it is to let them go. The silence does not cling to them. It absorbs and releases everything gently. The house feels receptive. Walls seem to hold the quiet carefully, preventing it from escaping. The ceiling feels higher somehow, as if space has expanded upward rather than outward. The night feels deep, layered with unseen distance. You listen again, not for sound, but for change. Nothing changes. The consistency feels reassuring. The rain remains steady. The silence remains full. You sense that this balance is intentional. The world beyond feels far away. You imagine roads empty, lights dim, windows dark. The thought does not feel lonely. It feels peaceful. The night feels shared, even across distance. You feel accompanied, not by a presence you could describe, but by the feeling that the silence itself is attentive. It does not intrude. It does not retreat. It stays exactly where it is. Rain slides down glass. The sound is soft, almost imagined. You are no longer sure whether you hear it or feel it. The difference becomes less important as awareness turns inward. Your breathing syncs with the night. Each inhale matches the pause between drops. Each exhale follows the rhythm naturally. You do not control it. The night seems to guide it for you. The silence feels intentional, as though the night has decided this is how things should be now. No more passing sounds. No more reminders of the outside world. Only rain and awareness remain. You sense that something is waiting, not close, not approaching, simply existing in the same moment as you. The feeling does not sharpen. It remains soft, unhurried. You feel no need to prepare. The quiet deepens. Not darker, not heavier, just more complete. You feel held within it, protected by its consistency. The rain continues, ensuring the silence never feels abrupt or hollow. Your body grows heavier. Sleep presses gently at the edges of awareness. You do not resist it. You allow it to hover uncommitted, waiting for the right moment. The night feels occupied in a gentle way. This thought returns, settling more comfortably now. You understand it without needing details. Occupied does not mean crowded. It means attended to. You remain still. The silence does not ask you to move. The rain does not ask you to listen. Everything exists without demand. You feel safe within this agreement. The car does not return. No new sounds replace it. The world remains quiet. You sense that the night prefers it this way, uninterrupted, unobserved. Your thoughts then further. They stretch and dissolve like mist. You remain aware without effort. The silence supports this state, allowing awareness to float rather than cling. Rain continues to fall. Steady, patient, endless. It feels like the only thing moving, and even that movement feels minimal. The night remains intact. You sense the beginning of something else. Not an event, not an action, but a deeper awareness forming beneath the quiet. It does not rise yet. It waits, the way silence waits after the last car passes. As the rain carries on and the silence grows more complete, you sense that the night has settled into its true shape, quietly preparing for whatever chooses to arrive next. Chapter 3. Footsteps that only exist after midnight. Rain masks the rhythm of careful movement. Footsteps appear when you stop listening for them. They do not approach or retreat. They simply exist with patience. Midnight settles fully as the rain continues, smoothing the world into a quiet rhythm that feels both steady and alive. You lie still, aware that something subtle has shifted again. The hours before feel sealed away now, unreachable. This part of the night feels deeper, slower, as if time itself has decided to move more carefully. Rain masks the rhythm of careful movement. At first, you do not notice anything unusual. The sound of rain is consistent, layered, soft enough to blur details. It fills the room without overwhelming it, creating a gentle barrier between you and everything outside. You breathe slowly, letting the sound carry you, then you pause. Not intentionally, not with curiosity, but naturally, as though your body has decided to rest in stillness for a moment longer. It is in that pause that you sense something else layered beneath the rain. Footsteps. They are not loud. They are not sharp. They exist as impression rather than sounds, shaped more by awareness than by hearing. You do not strain to listen. You allow the sensation to surface on its own. Footsteps appear when you stop listening for them. The realization arrives calmly, without fear. The more you focus on the rain, the clearer the feeling becomes. When you try to listen directly, it fades into nothing. When you relax, it returns, patient and steady. You remain still. The footsteps do not change. They do not grow closer. They do not move away. They exist somewhere beyond precise location, neither inside the room nor fully outside it. You feel them more than you hear them. Rain continues to fall. It covers everything evenly, smoothing sound into texture. The footsteps seem to use this cover, not to hide, but to exist without definition. They do not interrupt the night. They belong to it. You feel no urgency. There is no sense of pursuit, no suggestion of arrival. The footsteps carry no destination. They do not seek you, and they do not avoid you. They simply remain present, as though movement itself has paused mid-thought. Your breathing slows further. Each inhale feels deep, each exhale long and unforced. The footsteps remain unchanged, unaffected by your calm. You sense that they are not responding to you, only sharing the same moment. The room feels attentive. Walls seem to hold the quiet carefully. Shadows remain soft, undisturbed. Nothing creaks or shifts. The house does not react to the footsteps. It feels familiar with them. You realize they do not belong to a body. There is no weight behind them, no pattern of pace. They feel symbolic rather than physical, like the idea of walking without direction. This understanding brings comfort rather than concern. Rain masks everything equally. It hides distance, hides detail, hides intention. The footsteps exist within this masking, never rising above it, never disappearing fully. They remain consistent, calm. You do not imagine them. The feeling arrives without effort, without shape. It does not demand interpretation. You allow it to exist as it is without naming it. They do not approach or retreat. This becomes clear as time passes. You remain still for several breaths, several moments, and nothing changes. The footsteps maintain the same presence, the same distance, the same quiet patience. The night feels balanced. Nothing pushes forward. Nothing pulls back. The moment feels held in place, suspended gently between movement and rest. The footsteps seem to honor this balance. Your thoughts drift. They do not latch onto fear or curiosity. They move slowly, like clouds passing through a still sky. The footsteps remain beneath them, steady and unbothered. Rain continues its steady fall. It feels endless now, not tiring, not heavy. The sound feels like a boundary that protects the stillness inside it. The footsteps exist only within that boundary. You feel accompanied, not watched, not followed, simply accompanied, the way two people might share a room without speaking. The feeling carries no expectation. The footsteps simply exist with patience. They do not hurry the night. They do not linger dramatically. They rest within the moment, content to remain undefined. You sense that they will not last forever, but you also sense no rush for them to leave. Your body grows heavier, sleep presses closer, encouraged by the calm repetition of rain and the steady neutrality of the footsteps. You do not resist it. You feel safe, allowing awareness to soften. The footsteps remain as you drift. They do not follow you into thought or dream. They stay behind, anchored to the quiet awareness of the night itself. You sense that they belong to midnight alone. Rain softens further. The sound becomes background warmth, something felt rather than heard. The footsteps fade slightly, not disappearing, but becoming less distinct as your awareness loosens. You feel no loss. Their absence does not feel sudden or empty. It feels natural, like a sound fading as you fall asleep. The night remains intact. Sleep approaches gently. Your breathing deepens. Muscles relax fully. The footsteps dissolve into the larger quiet, leaving behind only the sense that something shared the night with you briefly. The rain continues. It carries the night forward, patient and unbroken, preparing the space for whatever quiet awareness comes next. As sleep settles in and the rain keeps falling, you sense that the footsteps have not ended, only paused, waiting calmly for the next moment when midnight opens its deeper hours again. Chapter 1. Midnight begins when the rain settles. Rain softens the world as the clock crosses midnight. The air feels different, heavier but calm. You sense the night opening its deeper hours. Something quietly notices that you are awake. Rain softens the world as the clock crosses midnight, and you feel the shift before you notice the time. The sound changes first, losing its sharp edges, becoming slower and more deliberate. Each drop feels placed rather than fallen, as if the night itself has decided on a gentler rhythm. You lie still, aware of the moment stretching open around you. The air feels different now, not colder, not warmer, just fuller. It carries a quiet weight that settles on your chest in a comforting way, like an extra blanket made of silence. You breathe it in slowly, noticing how easily your body accepts the change. Midnight does not arrive loudly. It arrives by rearranging how the room feels. You listen. Rain taps against glass and roof, but it no longer competes for your attention. It supports it. The sound creates a boundary between you and the outside world, sealing the night into something private. The hours before midnight feel far away, blurred and irrelevant. You sense the night opening its deeper hours. This part of the night feels wider, less hurried. Time seems to loosen its grip, stretching instead of moving forward. You are aware that most of the world is asleep now, but the thought brings comfort rather than loneliness. Being awake feels intentional here, as though the night has made room for you. Your body remains still. The mattress holds you evenly, familiar and warm. You feel grounded, supported, as if the room has adjusted itself to your shape. The walls feel closer without pressing in, attentive without watching. Everything feels aligned. Something quietly notices that you are awake. The awareness is subtle, easy to miss if you were not already listening. It does not arrive with sound or movement. It feels more like a pause, a slight stillness settling into the room. You do not feel startled. The feeling carries no urgency. You remain calm. The night does not demand your attention. It simply acknowledges your presence, the way a deep body of water acknowledges a ripple on its surface. You sense that awareness has always been there, waiting for the moment when noise and distraction fade enough to be noticed. Rain continues. Its rhythm feels slower now, more thoughtful. Each drop seems to land with purpose, as if marking time differently. Midnight stretches on, unbothered by clocks or schedules. You feel suspended inside it. Your breathing slows naturally. You do not force it. The night encourages stillness without instruction. Each inhale feels deeper, each exhale longer. Your thoughts begin to lose their edges, softening into impressions rather than sentences. The room feels receptive. Shadows rest where they belong. Darkness feels layered, not empty. You sense depth in the corners of the room, not threat, just space. The night feels larger than the walls that contain you. You notice how sound behaves differently now. Even small noises feel absorbed rather than echoed. The rain muffles everything, wrapping the world in a gentle hush. You feel protected by this quiet, as though nothing abrupt could reach you here. The awareness remains. It does not grow stronger or closer. It simply exists, sharing the space without interfering. You sense that whatever has noticed you does not require a response. It feels patient, accustomed to waiting. You feel no need to move. Stillness feels appropriate, almost respectful. The night feels like a conversation that does not require words, only presence. You remain exactly where you are, allowing the moment to unfold. Midnight deepens. Time stretches further, becoming less defined. You lose interest in measuring it. The rain becomes a constant, steady companion, guiding your awareness inward rather than outward. Your thoughts drift gently. Memories surface briefly, then dissolve. The day releases its hold on you. Responsibilities feel distant, unreal. The night feels like the only thing that matters. You sense that being awake now is different. This is not restlessness or insomnia. This is awareness without effort. The night feels pleased by your quiet attention, as though it has been waiting for someone to notice its deeper hours. The air feels heavier, but calm. It settles around you, grounding rather than pressing. You feel held in place by the moment itself. There is no urge to escape it. Rain shifts again. The rhythm changes slightly, not louder or softer, just different enough to remind you that the night is alive, moving, attentive. You feel accompanied by the sound. The awareness lingers. You sense it not as a presence in the room, but as something woven into the night itself. It feels vast, spread out, impossible to locate. You feel included rather than targeted. Your body relaxes further. Muscles loosen without instruction. Your jaw unclenches. Your shoulders sink into comfort. The night seems to encourage this release, rewarding stillness with ease. You feel safe, not because nothing is there, but because whatever is there feels calm, contained, respectful. The night does not feel empty. It feels watchful in a way that reassures rather than alarms. The rain continues to fall. It feels like a signal, a marker that you have crossed into a quieter part of the night. Midnight does not announce itself again. It simply holds steady. You allow your awareness to soften. You do not fight sleep, but you do not chase it either. You exist comfortably in between, suspended in the deeper hours where nothing demands action. The night remains open. It feels as though something else might happen, but there is no urgency. Curiosity replaces expectation. You sense that this is only the beginning of the night's quieter stories. Your breathing stays slow and even. The rain stays with you. The awareness remains gentle and distant. Midnight stretches on, patient and unhurried. As the rain settles into its steady rhythm and midnight holds you in its deeper hours, you sense that the night is only just beginning to notice you, quietly preparing what comes next. Chapter 3. Footsteps that only exist after midnight. Rain masks the rhythm of careful movement. Footsteps appear when you stop listening for them. They do not approach or retreat. They simply exist with patience. Midnight settles fully now, arriving not with ceremony, but with quiet certainty. The rain continues its steady fall, smoothing the world into a single, unbroken sound. You lie awake, not restless, not alert, simply present. The hours before feel distant, folded away as if they belong to another place entirely. The rain masks the rhythm of careful movement. At first, nothing feels different. The sound of rain fills every corner of the night, softening edges, blurring detail. You breathe slowly, letting the repetition carry you. Each drop feels identical to the last, forming a gentle pattern that asks nothing of you. Then, without warning, you notice the pause. Not a silence in the rain, but a pause in your attention. You stop listening without meaning to. Your senses loosen, your focus drifts inward. It is in that unguarded moment that something else becomes possible. Footsteps. They do not arrive loudly. They do not interrupt the rain. They exist beneath it, threaded through the sound like a second rhythm that only reveals itself when you are no longer searching. You do not hear them clearly. You sense them. Footsteps appear when you stop listening for them. The realization settles calmly. You feel no jolt of surprise, no rush of fear. The footsteps are not sharp or urgent. They are soft impressions, like memory replaying itself without images. You remain still. Your body does not tense. Your breathing remains slow and even. The footsteps do not react to your awareness. They do not shift or change pace. They seem unconcerned with whether you notice them at all. The rain continues, steady and patient. It hides the details, erasing direction and distance. The footsteps exist somewhere beyond precise location. You cannot tell if they are near or far, inside or outside. They feel suspended in the night itself. You sense no approach. Nothing draws closer. There is no building tension, no sense of arrival. The footsteps do not move toward you. They do not retreat either. They remain exactly where they are, wherever that may be. This realization brings comfort. Movement without intention feels different from pursuit. The footsteps feel neutral, balanced content to exist without destination. You allow the sensation to remain without questioning it. Your thoughts drift gently. They do not fixate or spiral. They pass through awareness like clouds through a quiet sky. The footsteps remain beneath them, constant and unbothered. The room feels attentive. Walls hold the sound carefully. Shadows remain soft, unmoving. The house does not respond to the footsteps. It feels as though it has heard them before. You begin to understand they are not physical. There is no weight to them, no sense of pressure. They do not suggest a body attached to them. They feel like the idea of footsteps rather than the act itself. The rain masks everything equally. It smooths the night into a single surface, hiding beginnings and endings. The footsteps exist within this masking, neither revealed nor concealed. They simply are. You do not imagine them. They arrive without effort, without shape. You are not creating them. You are noticing them. The difference feels important, though you cannot explain why. They do not approach or retreat. Time passes, marked only by your breathing and the rain's rhythm. The footsteps remain unchanged. Their patience becomes clear. They are not waiting for something to happen. They are content as they are. Your body grows heavier. The mattress supports you fully now. Muscles relax without instruction. The calm repetition of rain and the steady presence of the footsteps encourage rest. You feel accompanied, not followed, watched. Accompanied in the quiet sense, the way two people might share a space without speaking. The feeling carries no demand. The night feels balanced. Nothing pushes forward. Nothing pulls away. The moment holds itself gently in place. The footsteps seem to honor this stillness. Rain continues to fall. It feels endless, not tiring. The sound becomes background warmth, something felt more than heard. The footsteps remain beneath it, softened further by your drifting awareness. You feel safe. There is no threat here, no urgency. The footsteps do not belong to fear. They belong to midnight, to the deeper hours that exist without explanation. Your breathing deepens. Each exhale releases another layer of tension. The footsteps remain steady, unaffected by your relaxation. They do not fade, but they do soften. You sense they belong only to this hour. They feel tied to midnight itself, to the space where the world rests and awareness floats freely. They do not exist earlier in the night. They will not remain when morning arrives. The rain shifts slightly. Not louder or softer, just different enough to remind you that the night is alive. The footsteps remain unchanged, resting calmly within the sound. Your thoughts thin. Words lose importance. Sensation becomes primary. The feeling of the room, the sound of rain, the presence of the footsteps blend into one experience. The footsteps feel older than fear. They carry no emotion, no intent. They feel like a natural phenomenon, like wind moving through leaves or waves meeting shore. You accept them without resistance. Sleep presses closer. It does not rush you. It waits patiently, encouraged by the calm neutrality of the moment. The footsteps do not follow you toward it. They remain anchored in awareness. The rain softens further. Its edges blur completely. You are no longer sure where one sound ends and another begins. The footsteps fade slightly, becoming less distinct. You feel no loss. Their fading feels natural, like a sound dissolving as you drift into sleep. The night remains whole. Your body sinks deeper. Awareness loosens its grip. The footsteps dissolve into the larger quiet, leaving behind only the sense that something shared the night with you briefly. The rain continues. It carries the night forward, steady and unbroken, holding space for what comes next. As sleep settles in and the rain keeps falling, you sense that the footsteps have not vanished, only paused, waiting patiently for the next midnight when listening becomes unnecessary again. Chapter 5, a voice that speaks only between raindrops. Rain pauses just long enough for something else to speak. The voice never raises itself. It feels familiar without belonging to anyone you know. The rain resumes, protecting the moment. Rain falls in a careful rhythm, steady enough to be trusted, soft enough to disappear into the background of your thoughts. You lie awake, not restless, not alert, simply aware. Midnight has settled fully now, and the night feels wide, stretched open, as though it has made room for something unhurried. You listen without effort. Raindrops meet the roof and windows in a pattern that feels intentional, like breathing slowed to its most natural pace. Each drop arrives, rests, and fades. You notice the spaces between them, not as silence, but as brief moments of holding. The rain pauses, not completely, not long enough to be obvious. Just a hesitation, a thinning of sound so subtle you almost miss it. In that narrow space, something else becomes possible. A voice. It does not rise. It does not interrupt. It slips gently into the pause, shaped by the absence of rain rather than sound itself. You do not hear it with your ears. You feel it form in the quiet, like warmth spreading through still air. The voice speaks only between raindrops. It does not rush to finish before the rain returns. It seems to know the timing exactly, fitting itself into the narrow openings the night provides. You sense no strain, no urgency. The voice feels practiced in patience. You remain still. Your body does not react with tension. Your breathing stays slow even. The voice does not startle you. It feels expected, as though the night has been preparing you for this quiet exchange. The voice never raises itself. It does not need to. It carries no emotion that requires emphasis. The tone feels level, calm, almost intimate. It exists close to your awareness without pressing against it. You do not try to understand the words. They arrive as impressions rather than sentences. Meaning forms without structure, like a thought that has always been there. The voice does not explain itself. It does not introduce itself. The rain resumes. Its return feels protective, like a curtain drawn gently closed. The voice disappears the moment the rain fills the space again, not abruptly, but seamlessly, as if it was never separate from the sound at all. You breathe out slowly. The pause leaves no tension behind. You do not feel loss or confusion. The moment feels complete, even brief. The rain continues, steady and reassuring. You wait, not actively, not expectantly, just open. The night feels attentive, as though it knows you are listening without trying. The rain maintains its rhythm, drop after drop, each one creating the possibility of another pause. The pause comes again, softer this time, shorter. The voice returns with it, slipping into the narrow gap like it belongs there. It does not repeat itself. It does not continue from where it left off. It simply exists again. The voice feels familiar, not like someone you recognize, not like a memory you can place. Familiar in the way your own thoughts feel familiar, even when you do not know where they come from. You feel no need to identify it. The voice speaks without ownership. It does not feel attached to a body or a place. It feels like part of the night itself, borrowing the pauses between raindrops to exist briefly. You sense that it cannot speak when the rain is falling fully. You do not move. Stillness feels important, though you do not know why. The voice does not demand it. The night seems to prefer it. You allow your awareness to stay soft and open. Rain returns again. The voice withdraws instantly, leaving no echo. The rain does not erase the moment. It protects it, sealing it into memory without exposing it to analysis. You feel calm. There is no rush to question what you experienced. The voice did not ask for belief or response. It did not seek confirmation that you heard it. Your thoughts drift gently. They do not fixate. They float, slow and unshaped. The rain supports this state, keeping your awareness anchored while allowing it to wander. Another pause. This one is almost imperceptible, a thinning rather than a silence. The voice appears again, quieter than before. If that is possible, it feels closer, not in space, but in awareness. The voice does not belong to anyone you know. This understanding settles easily. It does not feel like a stranger either. It feels neutral, unclaimed, like something that exists without identity. You accept this without resistance. The rain resumes once more. Each return feels like reassurance. The night seems careful not to leave the voice exposed for too long. The balance feels intentional. You sense that the voice cannot exist alone. It needs the rain, needs the rhythm, needs the contrast of sound and pause. Without rain, there would be no space for it. Without the pause, there would be no voice. Your breathing slows further. Each breath aligns with the rain's rhythm. The pauses between breaths feel similar to the pauses between drops. You begin to understand the pattern without thinking about it. The voice returns briefly. This time it carries a sense of acknowledgement rather than message. You feel seen, not observed, recognized without evaluation. The feeling is gentle and fleeting. Rain fills the space again. The voice disappears, leaving behind warmth rather than absence. You do not feel abandoned. The night feels complete. You feel safe. The voice has never raised itself, never insisted, never lingered longer than allowed. Its restraint feels respectful. The rain continues to guard the boundary. Time stretches. You lose interest in how long this has been happening. The moments blend together, rain and pause, voice and silence. The pattern feels endless, but not tiring. The voice speaks again softly, not with words you can repeat, but with a feeling that settles into you like a memory you did not live. It feels old, calm, and unfinished. The rain resumes, gently closing the moment. You sense that the voice does not want to be held onto. It does not want to be examined. It exists only in passing, only in pause. Your body grows heavier, sleep approaches without pressure. The rain and the voice work together, one holding the world steady, the other brushing awareness lightly before retreating. The pauses grow less frequent, or perhaps your awareness grows softer. The difference no longer matters. The rain feels continuous now, a steady presence that allows rest. You feel content. The voice has not taken anything from you. It has not given anything you must carry. It has simply shared the night briefly. Sleep presses closer. Your thoughts dissolve into sensation. The rain becomes background warmth. The voice fades completely. Not gone, just waiting for another pause, another night. As sleep finally gathers you and the rain continues its careful rhythm, you sense that the voice has not vanished, only learned to wait for the next quiet space where the night allows it to speak again. Chapter 10. The feeling of being watched gently. Rain waffles the edges of awareness. Eyes rest on you without pressure. There is no judgment, no demand, only quiet attention. The rain continues its steady pattern, soft enough that it feels like it belongs inside the room rather than outside it. Each drop lands with restraint, careful not to disturb the stillness that is settled around you. You notice how quiet the world feels now, not empty, but held, as though everything unnecessary has stepped aside. You become aware of a feeling before you can name it. It is not sudden. It does not arrive with urgency or surprise. It simply appears, like warmth spreading slowly through fabric. A sense of attention rests somewhere near you, not close enough to touch, not far enough to ignore. You do not tense. Your body remains relaxed, breathing slow and even. There is no instinct to turn your head or scan the room. Whatever this awareness is, it does not trigger alarm. It does not demand recognition. It waits patiently, content to exist without being seen. Rain softens the edges of your thoughts. You notice how your mind does not rush to explain the feeling. It does not search for sources or shapes. Instead, it accepts the sensation as part of the night, as natural as the sound of rain or the weight of the blanket resting over you. The feeling of being watched gently settles in. It does not press down on you. It does not linger too close. It feels similar to the way someone might over a sleeping room, simply ensuring that everything remains as it should be. Your breathing remains unchanged. Inhale moves smoothly into exhale. There is no interruption, no hesitation. Your body does not feel examined or evaluated. It feels acknowledged, noticed without expectation. Rain continues to fall. The sound creates a soft barrier, muffling everything else. Whatever attention rests on you does not feel separate from the rain. It feels woven into it, carried in the rhythm, hidden within the repetition. You feel no need to respond. There is nothing being asked of you. No gesture required, no movement expected. The awareness does not lean closer when you notice it. It does not retreat either. It simply remains. The room feels calm, shadows stay where they are. The air feels balanced, neither heavy nor thin. The presence you sense does not alter the space. It does not rearrange anything. It observes quietly, without influence. You realize there is no sense of being judged. The attention does not weigh your thoughts or your stillness. It does not compare you to anything else. It does not measure. It simply notices, the way light notices surfaces without choosing favorites. Rain muffles the edges of awareness. Your thoughts drift more slowly now. They no longer arrive in complete sentences. Instead, they form impressions, soft shapes that dissolve almost as soon as they appear. The feeling of being watched blends into these impressions, becoming part of the background. You feel oddly safe. Not protected in an obvious way, not guarded by walls or locks, but safe in the sense that nothing is required of you. Nothing will be taken. Nothing will be added. The moment is allowed to remain exactly as it is. The attention remains gentle. It does not sharpen when you focus on it. It does not blur when you look away. It feels constant, steady and interested in control. Rain continues its quiet work. Each drop lands, disappears, and is replaced by another. Time moves, but slowly, deliberately. The watching presence seems to move at the same pace, unhurried, unchanging. You notice how your body feels heavier, not weighed down, but grounded. The mattress supports you fully. Your muscles loosen further, releasing small tensions you did not realize were there. The feeling does not follow you. It does not shift when you adjust your position. It does not hover over any particular part of you. It feels diffuse, spread evenly through the room, like a low light rather than a focused beam. You stop wondering where it comes from. The question feels unnecessary. Origins do not matter here. The feeling exists, and that feels sufficient. Rain creates a steady hush. Other sounds fade completely. Even your own movements feel quieter, as if the air itself has learned to move more carefully. You sense that the watching presence is not curious. It does not lean in. It does not seek details. It simply knows that you are here, awake in the night, breathing in time with the rain. There is no pressure to fall asleep. The attention does not urge you toward rest, nor does it resist it. Whether you remain awake or drift away feels irrelevant to it. That freedom feels comforting. Your eyelids grow heavier again. Not heavy with exhaustion, but heavy with calm, like something gently encouraging you to close them without insistence. Rain continues, patient and consistent. The night feels settled now, as though it has found its preferred arrangement. You feel included in that arrangement, not singled out. The presence remains. It does not announce itself. It does not fade. It simply stays, steady as the rain, quiet as the dark between drops. You feel watched, but gently. The sensation carries no fear. Only awareness, soft and unintrusive, like someone making sure the lights are dimmed properly before leaving a room. Your thoughts slow further. They stretch, thin and light, drifting without direction. The concept of time becomes less distinct. Moments feel wide enough to rest in. Rain holds the night together. The sound feels protective now, like a blanket drawn over the world. Whatever watches does so through the rain, filtered, softened. You no longer try to define the feeling. Names feel unnecessary. Definitions feel sharp. This moment does not need clarity. It needs presence. Your breathing deepens. Each breath sinks lower into your body, spreading warmth. The watching presence does not change with your breath. It remains steady, accepting. You sense no ending. The attention does not feel temporary, but it also does not feel permanent. It exists only now, in this moment, and that feels right. Rain continues to fall. The night remains calm. You remain still. As the gentle attention rests without demand and your thoughts soften further, you sense that the next moment will bring a different kind of quiet, one that waits patiently just beyond your drifting awareness. Chapter 11, a name heard only in thought. Rain hides the moment your name appears. It forms inside, not aloud. Recognition spreads without fear. You feel known, not claimed. The rain continues its steady rhythm, gentle and unbroken, as if it has settled into the night with no intention of leaving. You lie quietly, listening without effort, letting the sound move through you rather than around you. It no longer feels external. It feels internal, like breath, like pulse, like something your body remembers how to do on its own. Your thoughts slow. They do not stop, but they soften, stretching out like shadows at dusk. Each idea arrives calmly and leaves without resistance. You feel balance between wakefulness and rest, aware enough to notice the world, relaxed enough to let it pass by untouched. That is when you sense it. Not a sound, not a voice, not even a clear idea at first, just a subtle shift like pressure changing before rain deepens. Something forms gently within your awareness, careful not to disturb the quiet you have settled into. Your name appears. It does not echo. It does not ring. It does not arrive with urgency or volume. It simply exists inside your thoughts, shaped clearly but softly, as if placed there rather than spoken. You do not hear it with your ears. You recognize it the way you recognize your own reflection without needing to look. The rain continues. Its steady pattern covers the moment completely, protecting it from sharp edges. If the rain were to stop, you feel the name might fade with it. But the rain does not stop. It holds the space open. You do not feel startled. There is no rush of adrenaline, no tightening of your chest. The recognition feels calm, familiar in a way that does not rely on memory. You are not surprised to be known. You are not alarmed by the knowing. The name does not repeat. It does not insist. It does not demand attention. It rests there briefly, like a thought you were already having but had not noticed yet. Then it dissolves gently back into silence, leaving no echo behind. You remain still. Your breathing continues smoothly, unbroken. The room does not change. Shadows remain soft and unmoving. Nothing reacts outwardly to what has happened, as though the moment was meant only for you. You feel a quiet warmth spread. Not heat, not pressure. Just a subtle easing, like something clicking into alignment. The feeling is not possession, it is recognition. There is a difference, and you sense it clearly. Rain traces its familiar path. Each drop follows another, unhurried, consistent. The sound feels closer now, wrapping around your awareness like a soft boundary. Whatever formed your name did so within this boundary, never crossing beyond it. You do not feel claimed, no ownership settles over you, no expectation forms. The moment carries no weight beyond itself. It simply exists, complete and self-contained. Your thoughts drift again. They move slowly, peacefully, but something has shifted beneath them. A sense of being seen lingers, not watched, not observed, but understood. The difference feels important, though you cannot explain why. You sense no presence nearby. There is no feeling of someone standing close, no outline of attention hovering in the room. The recognition feels distant in origin, not anchored to a location. It does not come from behind you, beside you, or above you. It comes from nowhere you can point to. Rain keeps time, minutes stretch gently. Seconds lose their edges. The night feels wide but safe, like an open field under clouded sky. You do not feel exposed within it. You realize the name was not taken. It was not pulled from you. It was not discovered or uncovered. It was offered, acknowledged, and then released. That realization brings comfort you did not know you needed. Your body relaxes further, muscles soften, jaw loosens, shoulders sink into the surface beneath you. The rain seems to respond, softening its rhythm even more, as though adjusting itself to your calm. The silence between drops grows meaningful, not empty, not hollow, full in a quiet way. You feel as though something is listening, but not for sound. It listens for stillness, for openness, for rest. You do not search for the name again. You know it will not return just because you want it to. And strangely, you do not feel the need for it to. The moment has completed itself, and that feels enough. Rain continues to fall. The world beyond the room fades further away. Streets, lights, distance. All of it feels irrelevant now. The night has narrowed to this space, this sound, this gentle awareness. You feel known, but untouched. No fingerprints remain. No mark is left behind. If you were to wake in the morning and think back, you might question whether it happened at all. But right now, the certainty feels steady and calm. Your thoughts thin out again. Images dissolve before forming. Words lose their shape. The line between thought and sensation blurs pleasantly. Sleep approaches without hurry. Rain remains constant. It does not change pace. It does not grow louder or quieter. It simply stays, loyal to its rhythm, like a promise that does not need to be spoken. You feel safe enough to drift. Not because nothing can reach you, but because nothing needs to. The recognition has already passed. There is nothing left to announce. Your breathing deepens. Each inhale draws calm inward. Each exhale releases another layer of awareness. The night seems to accept this exchange without comment. You sense that the name belongs to the night now, not as a possession, but as a memory, held lightly, like something placed carefully back where it came from. The night does not cling. It does not repeat itself. Sleep gathers around you. Not abruptly, not completely, just enough to soften the edges of awareness. The rain continues to guide you downward, deeper into rest. As the rain keeps falling and your name fades fully back into silence, you sense that the next quiet moment will carry a different kind of recognition, one that waits patiently beyond thought, ready to arrive when you are even more at rest. Chapter 12, When Midnight Refuses to End. Rain does not slow as expected. The night holds its position. You sense unfinished moments lingering. Sleep waits patiently nearby. Midnight arrives quietly and then stays. The clock changes its number, but the feeling of the night does not move with it. Rain continues as though it has forgotten what usually comes next, tapping steadily without fading or growing. You lie still, listening, aware that something has paused, not broken, not lost, simply paused. You expect the night to loosen. It usually does. Usually there is a subtle shift, a thinning of darkness, a feeling that time has taken a step forward even if you remain awake. Tonight, that shift does not come. Midnight settles in and refuses to pass, holding the moment gently but firmly in place. The rain feels responsible for this. Each drop seems deliberate, evenly spaced, as if counting something that only it understands. The sound presses softly against your awareness, filling the room without crowding it. You notice how the rain makes the silence deeper rather than louder, how it creates a sense of enclosure. Your body remains relaxed. There is no urgency and you know of patience. You are not waiting for morning. You are not checking the time. You simply notice that the night has chosen to stay exactly where it is. The room feels suspended. Shadows do not shift. Air does not cool further. The familiar signals of passing hours do not arrive. Instead, everything holds steady, like a breath that has not yet been released. You sense unfinished moments around you. They do not press in or demand attention. They linger at the edges of your awareness, quiet and unhurried. These are not memories exactly, and not thoughts. They feel more like possibilities that never fully formed, moments that paused and decided to remain incomplete. The rain continues its gentle rhythm. It feels older now, heavier with time that is not moving forward. The sound no longer suggests progress. It suggests presence. The night is not going anywhere, and neither are you. You feel strangely comfortable with this. The refusal of midnight to end does not bring fear. It brings a calm curiosity. You wonder, briefly, what it means for time to rest, and then you let the question dissolve without answering it. Your breathing stays slow. Each inhale draws in the quiet. Each exhale releases expectation. The night seems to respond, settling even more deeply, as if relieved that you are not trying to push it along. You realize that sleep is nearby, not hovering impatiently, not waiting for permission. Sleep rests close, calm and observant, content to remain just out of reach until the moment feels right. It does not mind the pause. It understands waiting. Rain creates a soft boundary. Beyond it, the world feels distant and irrelevant. Streets, lights, movement, all of it seems temporarily suspended. Midnight has claimed this space, and nothing argues with it. You feel watched by time itself. Not observed, not measured. Simply held within a moment that refuses to conclude. The feeling is not uncomfortable. It is strangely reassuring. Like being allowed to linger somewhere without explanation. The unfinished moments shift slightly, not closer, not farther. Just enough for you to notice them again. They do not want resolution. They seem content to exist as they are, undefined and gentle. You do not try to name them. Names feel unnecessary here. Definitions feel sharp. The night prefers softness, and you allow yourself to follow its preference. Rain continues, patient and consistent. Its sound feels like a promise that nothing will change suddenly. Whatever this pause is, it will end gently when it ends at all. Your thoughts slow further. They stretch thin, drifting rather than forming. You notice how easy it is to let them go, how little effort it takes to remain present without thinking. Midnight remains. The clock might move, but the night does not acknowledge it. Time, for now, has chosen stillness over progress. You feel safe within the pause. There is no sense of being trapped. You could sleep if you wished. You could remain awake. Either choice feels acceptable. The night does not judge. Rain softens your awareness. The sound wraps around your senses, smoothing edges, blurring distinctions. You are not sure how long you have been here, and it no longer matters. The unfinished moments begin to fade, not disappearing, just becoming less distinct. They dissolve into the rain, into the dark, into the sense of held time. They have been acknowledged, and that seems to be enough. Sleep moves closer, not touching yet, but near enough that you can feel its presence, gentle and patient. It does not rush the night. It waits for midnight to release you in its own time. The room feels smaller now, not constricting, but intimate. The pause has drawn everything inward, focusing the world down to breath, rain, and quiet awareness. You notice your eyelids growing heavier. The effort to keep them open feels unnecessary. Midnight may be refusing to end, but you do not need to stay awake to witness it. Rain continues without change. The sound becomes softer in your perception, as though it is moving farther away even while remaining constant. The night begins to loosen its hold, just slightly. You sense that this pause is temporary, not fragile, complete in itself. It will end because all moments do, but not yet. Not until you are ready. Sleep reaches you gently. It does not pull you under. It invites you to rest within the pause, to drift without leaving the night entirely behind. Midnight still lingers, but it no longer feels insistent. It feels satisfied, as though it has accomplished something simply by remaining. Your breathing deepens. Each breath carries you closer to rest. The rain fades further into the background. becoming a steady hum that supports rather than commands attention. You feel the pause release you, not abruptly, not fully, just enough to allow sleep to take you without resistance. As midnight finally loosens its hold and sleep begins to carry you gently forward, you sense that the next quiet moment will reveal what the night was waiting to finish, just beyond the edge of your dreams. Chapter 13, Memories That Do Not Belong to You. Rain carries images you never lived. They pass through like mist. You accept them without question. They fade gently on their own. The rain continues steady and unhurried, as though it has all the time in the world. You lie quietly, aware of the sound but no longer focused on it. It has become part of the night's breathing, rising and falling in a rhythm that feels older than memory. Your body rests easily, supported and warm, floating somewhere between thought and sleep. Images begin to appear. They arrive without announcement, without shape at first. Just impressions drifting into your awareness, soft and incomplete. You do not search for them. You do not summon them. They simply pass through, like reflections moving across water. You notice that they are unfamiliar, not strange, not frightening, just not yours. You recognize this immediately, the way you recognize a face you have never seen before, but somehow know does not belong to your life. The realization brings no tension. It feels natural, even expected. Rain continues to fall. Each drop seems to carry something with it, fragments of moments that never touched you until now. A narrow hallway lit by pale afternoon light. The feeling of cool stone beneath bare feet. A window opens slightly, letting night air spill into a quiet room. You do not question these images. They do not ask to be understood. They do not explain themselves. They drift through your awareness with the same ease as breath, appearing and fading without resistance. You feel no need to hold on to them. There is no urge to examine them more closely, no instinct to trace their edges. You let them move at their own pace, trusting that they know where they are going. Rain softens everything. The sound wraps gently around your thoughts, blurring the line between memory and imagination. The images feel solid for a moment, then translucent, then gone. Another memory passes through, hands resting on a wooden table, marked with faint scratches and age, the smell of rain on warm pavement. A quiet laugh heard from another room, familiar to someone else, not to you. You accept it without question. There is no sense of intrusion. The memories do not invade your space. They pass through it, respectful and light, like guests who know they will not stay long. Your breathing remains slow. Each inhale feels deeper, fuller. Each exhale releases something you did not realize you were holding. The rain continues its steady guidance, encouraging stillness. The memories do not connect to each other. They arrive as individual moments, unlinked and complete in themselves. You sense no story, no sequence. Just fragments, gentle and self-contained. You realize they are not meant to be kept. They do not belong to you, and they do not wish to belong to you. They pass through because this moment is quiet enough to allow them. Rain keeps falling. The night feels wide and open, like a place where many things can pass without colliding. You feel safe within that openness, grounded even as unfamiliar moments drift by. Another image appears, a dim room lit by a single lamp, curtains moving slightly with a breeze. Someone sitting quietly listening to rain much like you are now. The parallel does not feel unsettling, it feels shared. You sense no emotion attached to the memory. No joy, no sorrow, no longing. Just existence. Just a moment that once was and no longer needs to be. The image fades. It dissolves slowly like mist warming in early light. Nothing is left behind, no residue. You remain calm. Your body sinks further into rest. The line between awareness and sleep grows softer, more flexible. You are still present, but lightly so. Rain continues its patient rhythm. It feels like a current now, carrying these borrowed moments through the night. You are not the destination. You are simply part of the path. You feel no fear. There is nothing threatening in these memories. They do not linger too long. They do not press themselves upon you. They respect your stillness. Another fragment arrives. A feeling of standing somewhere high, looking down at distant lights. The air cool and clean. The sense of quiet satisfaction. You recognize the feeling without claiming it. You let it pass. There is something comforting in this exchange, this brief sharing of moments that require nothing in return. You are not asked to remember them. You are not asked to understand. Rain softens your thoughts further. The images begin to blur more quickly now, passing through faster, lighter. They feel less defined, more like impressions than scenes. You sense that they are fading, not because you are falling asleep, but because they have finished passing through. Whatever brought them here has completed its purpose. You feel gratitude without direction. Not toward the memories, not toward the rain, not toward the night itself. Just a gentle appreciation for the quiet exchange that has taken place. The rain remains constant. It does not change its rhythm to mark the end of anything. It simply continues, steady and reliable, as though this is what it has always done. Your awareness drifts lower, thoughts become sparse. Sensations blur. The boundary between you and the night grows thinner, softer. The last memory passes through. It is barely an image at all. Just a sense of calm, of something settling into place. It leaves no trace when it goes. You are left with stillness. Not emptiness, but a quiet fullness. The kind that comes after something is gently concluded. Sleep waits nearby. It does not rush forward. It does not pull you under. It simply waits, patient and warm, knowing you will arrive when ready. Rain continues to guide you. The sound fades slightly in your awareness, becoming part of the background rather than the focus. Your breathing deepens further. You feel safe. Not because everything is familiar, but because unfamiliar things have passed through without harm. The night has shown you that you can remain still while other moments move around you. Your eyelids grow heavier. The effort to remain aware feels unnecessary. The night feels complete enough to release you into rest. Rain keeps falling. The memories are gone now, carried somewhere else, perhaps to another quiet moment, another listening mind. You drift closer to sleep. The last thing you feel is a sense of calm acceptance, as though the night has gently closed a door behind you without sound. As the rain continues and sleep draws you deeper, you sense that the next quiet moment may bring something even softer, waiting beyond memory, ready to arrive only when you are fully at rest. Chapter 15, Falling Asleep While Midnight Still Watches. Rain continues beyond your awareness. Midnight remains quietly alert. You surrender to sleep without fear. Something stays awake so you don't have to. Rain continues somewhere beyond your awareness, steady and faithful, though you no longer track its rhythm. It has become a distant presence, like a memory of sound rather than sound itself. You lie still, wrapped in the quiet, aware only of how calm your body feels and how little effort it takes to remain here. Midnight does not leave. It lingers with intention, settled and observant, not restless or demanding. You sense it the way you sense a horizon in darkness, not visible, but certain. The night remains awake even as you begin to let go. Your breathing slows further. Each breath feels deeper than the last, fuller, as though the air itself has learned how to support you better. The space around you feels balanced, complete, holding no tension and offering no resistance. You feel no pressure to remain alert. There is nothing left to watch for, nothing left to consider. Whatever has moved through the night has finished moving. Whatever needed to be seen has been seen. Whatever needed to be felt has already passed gently through you. Midnight keeps watch, not like a guard, not like a sentinel, but like a steady awareness that does not require your participation. It feels reassuring to know that something remains attentive while you rest. Rain continues its quiet task. It falls without urgency, without pause, touching the world softly and then moving on. You do not hear each drop anymore. You simply know that it continues. Your thoughts are almost gone now. What remains are impressions, soft and indistinct, drifting without direction. You no longer follow them. You allow them to fade as soon as they appear. Your body feels warm and heavy. The surface beneath you supports every part of you evenly. There are no sharp edges, no points of discomfort. You feel held in the simplest, most natural way. Midnight remains aware. It does not lean closer as you drift. It does not pull away. It stays exactly where it is, content to observe the quiet world while you rest inside it. You surrender without fear. Not because you are exhausted, not because you are forced, but because rest feels safe now. Sleep feels like an invitation rather than an ending. Rain softens further. The sound recedes into something more like texture than noise, a gentle layer beneath everything else. You are aware of it only when you think about it, and even then it feels distant. Your awareness narrows. The room dissolves first, then the sense of space. What remains is breath, warmth, and a growing stillness that feels kind rather than empty. Midnight watches patiently. It does not count time. It does not measure your breathing. It simply remains present, alert in a quiet way, ensuring nothing intrudes upon your rest. You feel safe enough to stop holding on. Muscles loosen completely. The last traces of tension fade without effort. Your body knows what to do next. Rain continues beyond you. It falls on rooftops, on empty streets, on places you cannot see and do not need to imagine. The world keeps moving gently while you drift away from it. Sleep moves closer. It does not rush. It does not pull you downward. It surrounds you slowly, like darkness settling over a familiar landscape. Midnight does not follow you. It remains behind, awake and steady, holding the night open while you slip into rest. You sense this clearly, a quiet assurance that you are not abandoning anything by sleeping. Your breathing deepens again. Each inhale feels effortless. Each exhale releases another layer of awareness. The boundary between thought and sleep softens until it no longer matters. Rain becomes memory. Not gone, not ended, just distant enough that it no longer requires attention. The night hums quietly, satisfied. You drift further. There is no falling sensation, no sudden shift. Just a gradual easing, like floating away from shore while the water remains calm. Midnight keeps watch. It does not intrude on your dreams. It does not follow your thoughts. It remains where it is, alert and calm, holding the quiet hours steady. sleep closes around you. Not completely at first, but enough to soften everything else. The world grows dim in the most comfortable way. Your awareness thins. Thought dissolves. Sensation fades. The last thing you feel is the certainty that nothing is required of you anymore. Rain continues. Midnight remains. You rest. As sleep fully claims you and the rain continues somewhere far away, midnight stays awake in the quiet, watching gently until the moment comes for you to return. Chapter 5. Shadows that do not match the body. Rain blurs the edges of the room. Shadows stretch in unfamiliar directions. They linger longer than they should. You let them stay. Rain blurs the edges of the room, turning corners soft and forgiving, as though the night has chosen kindness over clarity. You rest quietly, breathing slow and even, letting the sound settle into your body. The walls feel farther away than usual, their outlines loosened by shadow and rain. Nothing feels wrong. Everything feels slightly rearranged. You notice the shadows first. They gather where light thins, stretching across the floor and along the walls. At first they look ordinary, shaped by furniture and door frames, but the longer you remain still, the more they drift from expectation. Their angles soften. Their edges wander. You do not react. Your breathing stays slow, steady, patient. The shadows do not move toward you. They simply exist, lengthening in directions that feel unfamiliar but not threatening. The rain continues its gentle rhythm, steady enough to hold the room together. You sense a quiet delay. When you shift your hand slightly, the shadow near it does not respond right away. It lingers, holding its previous shape for a moment longer than it should. The pause feels intentional, careful, as if the shadow is deciding whether to follow. You remain calm. The delay does not disturb you. It feels like a courtesy rather than an error. The shadow eventually adjusts, but not perfectly, settling into a shape that almost matches your movement. Rain slides down unseen surfaces. Its sound fills the spaces between moments, softening your thoughts. The shadows seem to respond more to sound than to light now, stretching and settling with the rhythm of the rain rather than the lamp. You notice another shadow. This one rests near the wall, shaped like something standing just out of frame. There is no body to match it. The shape does not move, but it feels present, aware in a quiet way. You breathe out slowly. The shadow does not fade. It remains, steady and unbothered. You feel no urgency to change the light or adjust your position. The shadow feels like part of the night's arrangement. The room feels deeper, not larger, but layered. Shadows overlap gently, creating depth without crowding. You sense no figures, no forms stepping forward. Only absence shaped into something visible. You let your eyes soften. Details blur, and the shadows become gentler, less defined. They seem content with this, settling into shapes that no longer try to match anything at all. Rain continues. Its sound grows slightly heavier, grounding the space. The shadows stretch again, but slowly, carefully, as if they are listening to your breathing but deciding how far to go. You feel watched without attention. There is awareness in the room, but no focus. The shadows do not look at you. They simply remain, sharing the space without intrusion. You remain still. The longer you stay relaxed, the more the shadows drift from their sources. A chair casts a line that bends away from it. A corner produces a shape too wide for its angle. None of it feels sudden. The house feels accepting. Walls do not resist the shapes. The ceiling does not correct them. The room allows the shadows to exist as they are, mismatched and patient. You feel no fear. The shadows carry no intent. They do not reach or recoil. They simply linger, as though waiting for the night to deepen further. Your breathing slows. With each breath, the shadows grow softer at the edges. They blur into one another, becoming less about shape and more about presence. Rain hums steadily. The sound becomes a blanket, covering the room. The shadows respond by settling lower, closer to the floor, less noticeable, but still there. You sense permission, not granted by you, but by the night itself. The shadows are allowed to stay because nothing demands that they leave. Your thoughts drift. They move slowly, gently, without urgency. The shadows do not follow them. They remain anchored to the room, calm and patient. The light dims slightly, not because it changes, but because your awareness does. The shadows become background, texture rather than focus. You feel sleep approaching. It moves carefully, unwilling to disturb the balance. The shadows do not resist it. They seem to soften further, becoming part of the darkness that sleep brings. Rain continues its quiet watch. The room holds steady. The shadows remain mismatched, but harmless, lingering without demand. You rest. As sleep draws you deeper and the rain keeps falling, you sense the shadows remain where they are, waiting softly for the next quiet night when the light forgets to correct them again. Chapter 4. Whispers that drift with the rain. Poetic summary. The rain carries voices the way rivers carry leaves. They brush past your thoughts without urgency or demand. You cannot tell if they speak to you or through you. The night hums softly, full of unfinished sentences. The rain changes again, not in volume but in texture, as though it has learned a new way to fall. It no longer sounds like separate drops, but like a soft veil drawn across the night. You lie still, eyes closed, listening as the air fills with movement. The room feels dimmer somehow, even though nothing has changed. Your senses sharpen gently, tuned to the space between sounds. At first, the whispers feel imagined. They arrive the way thoughts do when you are nearly asleep, fragile and half-formed. A breath that is not yours. A murmur that dissolves before it becomes clear. You do not open your eyes. You do not tense. You simply listen, allowing the rain to continue its steady descent against the world. The whispers drift with it. They do not come from one place. They seem to move, sliding along the rain's rhythm, appearing briefly and then slipping away. Each one brushes the edge of your awareness like fabric against skin. There is no urgency in them, no demand to be understood. They feel content to exist without definition. You breathe slowly. The rain presses against the windows, carrying sound with it. Somewhere within that sound, the whispers gather. You cannot make out words, only intention. A sense of memory passing close, like a familiar scent that vanishes before you can name it. The experience feels intimate, yet distant, as though the voices are not meant for you alone. You feel no fear. The whispers do not intrude. They do not call your name. They move past you, around you, through the room itself. You imagine them settling briefly on the walls, the floor, the ceiling before drifting onward. The house seems to accept them, holding the sound gently before releasing it again. The night hums softly. You notice how the rain and whispers blend, becoming inseparable. The rain gives the whispers shape, and the whispers give the rain depth. Together, they create a sound that feels layered and old. You sense that this has happened many times before, on nights when the world is quiet enough to listen. Your thoughts slow. You wonder if the whispers are memories the rain has gathered. Voices from other nights, other places, carried forward without intention. The idea feels comforting. Nothing is lost, only moved gently along. You imagine the rain as a messenger, delivering fragments of unfinished thoughts to anyone willing to hear them. The whispers brush closer. Not louder, just nearer. You sense them passing through you, not stopping, not lingering. They do not ask you to respond. They seem unaware of your individuality, treating you as part of the night's landscape. This makes you feel strangely calm, unimportant in the most peaceful way. The room feels fuller. The air thickens with sound, though nothing becomes overwhelming. Each whisper arrives softly, wrapped in rain, then dissolves. You feel as though you are floating within a current of quiet voices, all moving in the same direction. You let go. There is no need to follow the whispers, no need to understand them. The night does not require participation, only presence. You remain still, breathing evenly, allowing the sound to pass through your awareness without resistance. The rain grows steadier. With it, the whispers become smoother, more continuous. They no longer feel separate, but part of a single murmur that rises and falls gently. You imagine them forming sentences that never quite finish, thoughts paused indefinitely. This does not frustrate you. It feels natural, like listening to waves without counting them. You feel watched again, not by eyes, not by attention, but by attention. The night notices you're listening. The rain seems to adjust its rhythm, slightly accommodating your breath. The whispers respond by softening further, as though grateful for the quiet space you provide. Your body relaxes deeper, muscles loosen. The boundary between you and the bed fades. The whispers become a background texture, like wind moving through leaves. You are aware of them, but they no longer command focus. Time stretches. You are no longer certain how long you have been listening. The rain and whispers create a suspended moment, detached from clocks and expectation. The night holds you there, patient and kind. The whispers shift. They seem to move away from the room, drifting outward with the rain. You sense them traveling along streets, over roofs, through open spaces. They do not leave entirely. A trace remains, enough to remind you they were here. You feel a quiet satisfaction. The night feels complete, as though something necessary has passed through. You are left calmer, heavier, closer to sleep. The rain continues, now simpler, less layered. Your thoughts fade. Images blur and soften. The whispers dissolve into the rain until they are indistinguishable. You are left with sound and breath, nothing more. Sleep approaches gently. You do not resist it. The night has given you its unfinished sentences, and that is enough. You rest within their echo, feeling safe and unhurried. The rain keeps falling. You drift. As the whispers fade into the rain, you sense that the night still holds something unspoken, waiting quietly for the moment when silence itself begins to listen. Chapter 4, The Space Between Thunder and Silence. Rain pauses briefly, suspended in air. A voice slips through the quiet gap. It vanishes before you can respond. The thunder returns like a curtain closing. The rain has been falling for so long that you barely notice it anymore. It has become part of the night's texture, like the darkness itself. Each drop lands with practiced patience, never hurried, never demanding attention. You rest inside its rhythm, breathing in time with the storm, feeling safely enclosed by sound. Then, without warning, the rain softens. It does not stop completely. Instead, it thins, as if the night has taken a careful breath. The air feels different in that moment, lighter and strangely expectant. You sense the pause before you hear it, the way your body notices stillness before your mind understands why. The silence is not empty, it is shaped. You feel it press gently against your senses, filling the space where the rain had been. It is brief, delicate, like the moment between heartbeats. You do not move, you do not think, you simply exist inside it. Within that space, something shifts. A sound emerges, not loud enough to break the calm, not clear enough to fully define itself. It is not quite a voice, not quite a thought. It arrives softly, carried on the quiet rather than breaking it. The sound feels intentional, placed precisely within the pause. You listen without effort. There is no need to lean forward or strain your hearing. The night seems to bring the sound closer on its own. It lasts only a moment. The sound does not linger or repeat. It does not build into words. It brushes past your awareness like a passing breath, close enough to feel, impossible to hold. You sense meaning in it without understanding the shape of that meaning. It feels familiar, though you cannot place why. Your body remains calm. Your breathing does not change. Whatever has passed through the silence is done so gently, leaving no disturbance behind. Then the rain returns. The first drops fall carefully, as if respecting what just occurred. Soon, the familiar rhythm resumes, filling the space again, covering the quiet like a soft blanket being pulled into place. The moment closes, sealed by sound. Thunder follows in the distance. It is not sharp or sudden. It rolls slowly across the sky, deep and resonant, like a door closing far away. The vibration settles into the rain, reinforcing the storm's presence. The world feels whole again, complete. You realize you are still listening. Your awareness remains tuned to the space that just existed, the narrow opening between rain and thunder. You consider how brief it was, how easily it could have gone unnoticed. If you had shifted, or thought, or spoken, you might have missed it entirely. The rain continues steadily now, its pattern unbroken. The window beside you hums softly with impact after impact. Outside, the city remains blurred and distant, reduced to shadow and suggestion. Inside, you feel unchanged and yet subtly altered. You replay the moment in your mind, not as sound but as sensation. The quiet had texture. The sound within it had weight without force. It did not ask for attention. It did not linger long enough to demand interpretation. It simply passed through. You sense that the night is capable of these pauses, that it holds them carefully, releasing them only when conditions are right. The storm does not rush. It knows how to wait. Another distant rumble moves through the sky, softer this time. It feels less like thunder and more like confirmation. The rain responds by settling into an even calmer rhythm, smoothing itself out. You feel the air shift again, though the rain does not stop this time. The pause does not return fully, but the memory of it remains close, like a door left slightly ajar. Your senses stay open, relaxed. You do not expect the sound to return. Expectation feels unnecessary. Whatever moves through that space does so on its own terms. The night stretches on, minutes pass without measure. The storm maintains its steady presence, neither growing nor fading. You feel suspended within it, held in place by sound and shadow. The outside world feels distant, irrelevant. Your thoughts drift lazily, guided by the rain's rhythm. Each idea forms slowly, dissolving before it can sharpen. You welcome the softness, the lack of urgency. Then, again, the rain falters. This time the pause is shorter, almost imperceptible. The quiet barely has time to form before thunder rolls through it, filling the gap completely. There is no sound within this pause, no whisper or suggestion. Just the brief sensation of space closing again. You realize the difference immediately. The first pause felt intentional. This one feels incidental, a natural shift rather than an opening. You sense that the earlier moment was rare, carefully placed. The storm seems aware of itself, of its movements and timing. The rain resumes without hesitation, confident and consistent. The thunder fades into the distance, leaving only its echo behind. You relax further into stillness. Your body grows heavier, sinking into comfort. Muscles loosen. Your breathing deepens. The night feels thick and protective around you, insulating you from anything beyond the storm. You wonder briefly if the sound you heard existed at all, or if it was a creation of the moment itself. The question does not trouble you. Whether imagined or real, it carried the same gentle effect. The rain continues to fall. You sense that the space between thunder and silence is not empty by nature, but selective. It opens only when the night chooses to listen as well. When it does, something moves through. briefly touching awareness before slipping away again. Another rumble passes overhead, farther away now. The storm feels settled, less restless. The rain's rhythm becomes almost hypnotic, pulling your attention inward. You feel safe here, held by repetition and sound. The earlier pause feels distant now, softened by time and rain. And yet, you know it could happen again. The night is patient. Your thoughts slow further, drifting without direction. You do not search for the sound. You do not wait for it. You simply remain open, relaxed, receptive without expectation. The rain continues its quiet work, washing the world clean, smoothing edges, softening thoughts. The storm feels endless in the best way, a constant presence that asks nothing of you. Your eyelids grow heavy, though you do not close them deliberately. The space between wakefulness and rest begins to form, subtle and welcoming. Somewhere within that space, you sense that the night is still capable of pausing, of creating those brief openings where something unseen can pass through. For now, the rain keeps falling, and the thunder stays distant, and the silence remains folded carefully between them. As the storm carries on and your thoughts grow quieter, you sense that the next pause may last longer, and that whatever waits within it is learning how to stay just a little closer. The bedroom where no one wakes alone. Rain hums steadily outside the window. The bed feels warm, already used. Breathing overlaps yours for just a moment. Sleep does not belong to you alone here. The rain hums steadily outside the window, a low, continuous sound that feels less like weather and more like reassurance. You lie down slowly, allowing the bed to receive you without resistance. The mattress yields with familiarity, as though it has done this many times before and remembers exactly how. The air feels calm, slightly warm, carrying the faint impression of rest that has already taken place here. You settle into stillness. The room does not change suddenly, yet something feels different once you stop moving. The rain continues its steady rhythm, and the walls hold the sound gently. You breathe in, then out, noticing how easily your breath slows. The bed feels warm beneath you, not freshly warmed, but evenly so, as if it has retained comfort rather than heat. You sense that you are not the first to sleep here. This thought arrives without fear, without surprise. It feels obvious in a quiet way. The bed holds an impression of weight that is not entirely yours. It does not press or intrude. It simply exists. Shared, you imagine layers of rest settling into the fabric over time, each one leaving behind a trace of calm. The rain hums on. Outside, the night continues without concern, but inside, the room listens closely. You feel the mattress respond to your breathing, adjusting gently. The sensation brings comfort. You are supported fully, without effort. For a moment, your breathing overlaps with something else. It is subtle, almost imagined. A second rhythm aligns briefly with your own, then fades. You do not panic. The overlap feels gentle, like two waves meeting before separating again. The moment passes quickly, leaving warmth behind. You remain calm. The air does not feel crowded. The presence, if it was one, does not linger. It feels like an echo of rest rather than a visitor. The bedroom feels aware of sleep, practiced in it. You sense that waking is not the focus here. Rest is. The bed feels settled. You shift slightly, and the mattress adjusts immediately, smoothing the movement. The warmth remains constant. You feel no need to question it. The night has taught you that some things are understood rather than explained. Rain continues its soft humming. It weaves itself into the room, stitching sound into comfort. You feel your thoughts slow, each one arriving softer than the last. The idea of being alone feels less important now. The room feels complete, whole. You sense that sleep has passed through here many times. Not hurried, not disturbed. The bedroom has learned how to hold it gently. It knows how to keep breathing even, how to soften dreams before they form. You feel this knowledge surrounding you, protective rather than possessive. Your breathing deepens. The memory of overlapping breath does not return, but the comfort it left behind remains. You feel watched over without being observed. The sensation is quiet, steady, and warm. The rain outside grows slightly heavier. Inside, nothing changes. The room remains calm, balanced. You feel your body growing heavier, sinking into the bed's familiarity. Sleep approaches without urgency. You do not feel alone. The feeling is not companionship exactly, but continuity. The sense that rest is shared across time. That the bed remembers how to hold someone gently, regardless of who they are. This brings peace rather than unease. Your thoughts soften further. The room feels darker now, though nothing has changed. The darkness feels intentional, shaped for rest. The rain hums, steady and kind. You drift closer to sleep. The bed holds you securely. The warmth remains even. You sense that waking here is rare, that sleep lingers longer than usual. This does not frighten you. It comforts you. Your breathing slows completely. Sleep gathers around you, deep and unbroken. The memory of overlapping breath fades into background warmth. The rain continues to hum, faithful and distant. You surrender to rest. As sleep deepens and the rain keeps its quiet watch, you sense that the room remembers how to hold you now, preparing gently for the moment when you will drift even further from waking.